worked on the economic development in Westport. We worked with the Westport Economic Development Task Force, and my name is Jennifer Miranda.
I'm Lindsay Montel.
I'm Joel Martins.
I'm Angel Ortiz.
John Barrett.
I'm Ashton Anderson. Sorry.
Alright, so for the overall, we're going to talk about our goals for the project, our research and findings, the recommendations, our next steps, and the conclusions. So basically, the overall of our project was to attract new businesses, how to do outreach to new businesses, and the types of businesses that would be interested in Westport, and kind of find a community that's related to Westport based on their demographics and size. So for research, we worked on demographics, being social, gender, age groups, ethnicity, economic, income, cost of living, home values, our, the education in Westport, graduation rates, school performance, the infrastructure, utilities like cable, phone, internet, water, gas, electricity. We also worked on research the businesses in Westport, and we did a summary of like the current business landscape. And we found Sandwich in Massachusetts that was similar to Westport.
So this is just some general information about the town of Westport. We found that the population grew from 15,532 to 15,647 between 2010 and 2014. The median age of people in Westport is 46, with 98.3% of the population being white, which is above the Massachusetts average. We found that the largest group of citizens are under the age of 20, taking up about 21% of the population of Westport, followed by those in their 60s, and then a large portion is people in their 40s and 50s.
All right, now for a little bit of an economic snapshot. In terms of median earnings per different metrics, Westport is above Massachusetts averages, about $3,000 above the average per worker median income, and then the household income is going to be about $13,000 over the Massachusetts average, which would also align with the fact that Westport also had a rather high concentration of families within households. One statistic that may be viewed as concerning, may not, is the percent of people who work in Westport that also happen to live in it, which is only 8%, which is significantly below the Massachusetts average of 34%. Unemployment is on par with Massachusetts at 6%. The percentage of poverty is only 3.4%, which is the lowest in the area for surrounding towns. However, the largest concentration of poverty at a rather staggering 42% was for those 65 years or older. Now, using the Bureau of Labor and Statistics cost indexes, using 100 as the US average, Westport is over in nearly every metric, which is pretty on par for the state of Massachusetts. However, housing would be the most particularly high, being 85.8 points over that 100 average. Sales tax is at 6.25% for the state of Massachusetts, along with a 5.1% income tax. Westport as a town has one of the lowest tax rates in the state, being only $7.91 per $1,000 earned. Education demographics will show that 86% of people are high school educated, which is only 4% below the Massachusetts average, with a 90.2% graduation rate. College educated is going to be a little bit below, 10% below the Mass average of 40% at 30%, and the dropout rate is only 5.7%.
Now, a little bit on infrastructure. Infrastructure is the more functioning the infrastructure, the more the economy can prosper within a region, which in Westport, the largest community in southeastern Massachusetts without municipal water system and sewer system. 98% of housing depends on private wells. This information was provided by the master plan on the economic development website. The current status of plans for the water waste system in North End denied for not having a majority 2/3 vote. Utility providers, electricity, Eversource Energy, majority Massachusetts under National Grid. Natural gas is Eversource Energy. Cable and television providers are Charter, which is majority under Southeast Massachusetts under Comcast and Verizon. Now, availability between these is Charter average 99% within the residential area, and with Verizon very close with a 96% average. and Comcast slash Xfinity is very low, averaging less than 20% availability within the region. Satellite pretty much would be Dish and DirecTV would be substantial options. Now, licensing. Within the businesses of Westport, 61 have common victualler, 4 in holder, 31 liquor licensing, 1 Class 1 sale of new motor vehicles, 50 Class 2 sales of used motor vehicles, 5 Class 3 junk, 2 storage yard, and 42 repair and garbage. Now, when searching things to do in Westport, you have a lot of tourist attractions that a lot of families can use, and which can give the idea of bringing people more to Westport and take a look around. You have the Vineyard Winery, Buzzards Bay Brewing, Allen's Pond Wildlife Sanctuary, the kayaking, Town Farm, Horseneck Beach, Westport Carway, and plenty of restaurants to grab a bite to eat. Now, on Route 6, known businesses, you have the Bank of America, CVS, Citizens Bank, Cumberland Farms, Mechanics Bank, Dunkin' Donuts, Honeydew, Hampton, and White's of Westport. Mostly supply and parts stores, gas stations, restaurants, used auto, and auto repair. Now on Route 177, known businesses are Prestige Auto, Ace Hardware, and U-Haul. Mostly restaurants, gas stations, auto repair, and salons also.
So some of the most prominent businesses in Westport include car dealerships, auto services, banks, salons, animal services, and convenience stores, while they're kind of lacking in small shops, pharmacies, and gyms. And now Joel is going to talk about what we think we should do moving forward.
So the reason we went through so much of that demographic data is because we really wanted to get a broad view of what the town of Westport has to offer for a business. Because when a business is looking to move to a community, it's looking at what the market is, or else they're not going to move to Westport if there is no market for their services. So we really took into consideration a lot of these factors, and then we were able to luckily find a very good plan that was enacted in the town of Sandwich. And we also were able to find a document through the EPA that actually is a recommendation for a lot of small towns on how to build and develop their economy. And so one thing we really found through all of our research is that the town of Westport should really focus more on smart, efficient, and effective investment in the community and the economy. And through small investments, it's just going to be small steps towards building a better overall and more attractive economy that then will be more attractive for new businesses to come in. There's a lot of communities that sometimes focus too much on growth. That's very narrow-minded in some ways, where with investment it's more of a broad view and saying, let's look at the different pieces of Westport and how they affect how a business decides to go here or somewhere else. And as long as each piece is adding to that puzzle, making it a more complete picture, then a business will be looking to come into the town. So successful investments, and specifically we look to invest, the priority investment being infrastructure. The lack of a municipal water and sewer system is a concern, especially if you're not on Route 6 or 177. We know that there was that parcel of land that was zoned off for the Science and Technology District that's been a focus of this project as well. And looking at it, it's off of Briggs Road and it's off of 88, so there is some, there is some groundwork there, but of course, looking at homes being mostly private wells and that plan at the north end not enacting, so I think Briggs Road is more of what you consider that area where that plan was going to be affecting. There really isn't that infrastructure that if a company wants to come to that area, that it has that security of knowing we'll move in and we'll already have the pieces that we can just plug into a system and we're all set to go. They might have to spend more if they have building a new development to build that type of system. Also looking at infrastructure with the internet, because if you're looking for a science technology district, you're going to be needing strong, fast, reliable internet. And we've been looking at Yelp reviews, Yellow Pages reviews, any sort of user review websites, and all of them say that Charter is pretty unpopular within most communities, not specifically Westport. So we looked into how towns negotiate with the providers, and if it's possible, depending on when contracts run out, whatever it may be, is to start really looking at you know, if the contract was negotiated based on cost, you know, start looking based on, you know, if charter was cheaper than Comcast, let's say, with the way the contract was negotiated, start looking at really how it's going to affect the citizens. Is it cheaper because of, usually what we see is, you know, something's cheaper, it's usually less quality. So what we're looking to see is trying to perhaps bringing another provider rather than charter. I can say from personal experience, when the tax firm that I work at, we have an office on Main Road right across from the high school, and we have always dealt with